Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, reach out to us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we're discussing a 2013 model year limited edition of 180 pieces in platinum. From Jaeger-LeCoultre, this is the Master Grande Tradition Tourbillon cylindrique à 40e Perpetual Jubilee. That's right, it is all of those things. And frankly, it is not that big a watch considering the number of syllables. But the watch is JLC's Master Grand Tradition cylindrical hairspring tourbillon with a Kurt Klaus-style sequentially programmed perpetual calendar. The timepiece is similar to a previous Master Grande Tradition piece, only it's more wearable. It's a little bit smaller. It has finer lugs, so while the movement hasn't changed from that previous 2009 edition, the shape of the case, the detail of the dial, the proportions, and some of the detailed dimensions have created a much more appealing watch. So let's see how it wears on my wrist. First of all, 42 millimeters in diameter, 13.3 millimeters thick, 48.7 from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. And it wears well. It doesn't wear as large as the previous version, and you can see that on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, the lugs are actually inboard of the edge. So if your wrist is my size or larger, game on. You're going to find this wears really well. I would even say that if your wrist is very flat and 15 centimeters, you could probably pull this off. And by that, I mean put it on. It's low enough with a concave bezel that it will fit underneath most dress cuffs, and although it is a dress watch by intent, it has durability elements that we'll discuss in a little bit that make it suitable for everyday use without reservations. The strap is a handsome piece. You can see medium alligator scales, black, semi-gloss. We have an edge that is broad and folded with a monotone stitch. There's a little bit of bolstering to add volume. Calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no gouging, a brand new JLC factory strap. This watch was offered standard with a platinum pin buckle, but somebody paid an upcharge at the time of delivery to get a full double folding white gold JLC clasp. So someone down the line will benefit from the original owner probably paying 4 figures to add this to his watch. And it offers you a little bit of extra precious metal, but also extra security against dropping your watch while donning or removing it. These lugs are gorgeous, and you can see this is a true welded lug case. Taking a look at the junction between case and lug, you can see how sharp the break is. That's achieved by creating the case and the lugs separately, inserting the lugs into slots in the case, welding them together, and then hand filing to remove the gathered material from the weld and leave a super sharp break between the surfaces. And you can see that they've also achieved clinical double finishing with polish and satin immediately adjacent. The bezel is concave and mirrored, which creates a nice visual trick of thinning out the watch, and the lugs have been enhanced with a little bit of fluting to pare down their visual mass. We've got a crown with the JL logo, a contrast between satin and polish here. And then taking a look in profile, this is the trigger that actuates the perpetual calendar. It's the IWC system. JLC makes it with permission of its Richemont stablemate IWC. And JLC decided that the crown adjustment system used on the IWCs made it too easy to set your watch days or weeks forward by accident. So JLC separated crown functions from the calendar adjustments. You use the pusher adjuster and everything adjusts in sync. The day, date, the month, even the year and the decade will advance in sync. So all you got to do is make the number of corrections to get to your correct date, and everything else moves. So, for example, you never need to look up the moon phase. I do want to mention 2 features worth attention. The first is that moon is static, and it is the hand and not the moon that moves to indicate the current phase of the moon. And then we've got a little window at the center inside that beautiful granular frosted dial, and that is your danger zone indicator. That is also why there are little viewports in the hands. But that little window will tell you when you are not supposed to use the trigger adjuster to correct the calendar. And in general, it's nighttime hours, but you can see as we enter the evening, that window will turn dark. And so that is the little window during which you should not attempt to use the calendar corrector. What else have we got going on? Well, the main event, the tourbillon. This dial is stepped specifically so you can see the tourbillon. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to hold this steady because, unfortunately, I have a rig that was put together for about $55. Now, taking a look at the tourbillon, The stepped dial allows you to appreciate the depth of this tourbillon regulator. It is a flying tourbillon with no upper bridge to block your view. It is shock protected, which is unusual on a tourbillon, and I mentioned that this watch has durability features that make it everyday practical. That's one of them. The tourbillon carriage is finished with satin and polished bevels, and it's made of grade 5 titanium. The tri-spoke, which acts as the second sand, is also fired blue using heat. The tourbillon includes a cylindrical hairspring a la John Arnold, like a marine chronometer. So a flat hairspring is okay, it can be made to work well. An overcoil is better, and a cylindrical hairspring is best. Sometimes known as a helical hairspring or chronometer hairspring, it gives you the best possible timekeeping in every physical orientation with respect to gravity, and this watch would have been timed in the 6 standard positions before going out to you, the customer. Now, they don't make any compromises here. We have a free-sprung balance, so all timing adjustments are done using weights on the rim of the solid 14-karat gold balance. That's right, this is a rare use of a solid gold balance for utmost timing precision to place the maximum of mass in the balance rim to minimize the effects of temperature on timing. And you can see it beats at a no-holds-barred 4 hertz or 8 beats per second, so it's not achieving its power reserve of 48 hours with a low beat rate. They give you the chronometrically preferable high beat rate of 4 hertz. Taking a look, you can also see that there's elements of polish and blued screws on this tourbillon, and because it is a flying tourbillon, there's no upper bridge to block your view. The watch has a perpetual calendar, the cylindrical hairspring, the tourbillon, and then on the reverse side, surprisingly water resistant for a dress watch. It's rated to 50 meters, which is more than the 30 you get on a standard dress watch. I still don't recommend you submerge it, but it's nice to know you've got a little bit more margin. On the 22-karat rotor, which is borne by ceramic ball bearings for greater winding efficiency, we have a replica of the medal that Jaeger-LeCoultre received at the Universal Exhibition in Paris back in 1889. They received a gold medal for timing, and you can see that there are sun rays emanating out from the image of the medal. Also from the center of the bearing, we have both mirror-polished and fire-blued screws here, and if you look at the Côte de Genève, there is a sort of Côte de Soleil or sun ray radiating out from the underside of the tourbillon. This movement features 49 jewels and 431 parts. You can also see that the rotor is exquisitely hand-finished as it has huge interior bevels with sharp interior angles, 4 to each side. And although it's not easy to see, JLC movements of this era do feature hand beveling. It's a razor's edge of mirrored finish. They had a different way of doing things. But if you look at it under a loupe, you will see, yes, there is rounded and mirrored beveling here. They just make it a little bit eccentric because it is so narrow. And then, of course, the movement uses unidirectional winding because JLC has found that in practice it is more efficient than bidirectional. And it is a properly sized movement that nicely fills out this case. A timepiece that offers just about everything you could ever want in a watch. And it's been through the Master 1000 Hours control, and you know, because it has this little medallion on the side, that is a fully cased up chronometric test in 6 positions. And I've been told by JLC watchmakers that a tourbillon is going to be made to run 1 second or better before it leaves the factory. Not every watch has the same Master 1000 Hours timing standard, especially smaller movements and reversos, but the highest standard is applied to wristwatch tourbillons, so 1 second or better. It's also been tested for power reserve, winding efficiency, water resistance, and overall durability. So this is a watch that exhausts all avenues for improving its total quality through the Master 1000 Hours control, which is 41.6 days. It's not a bare movement 5-position test over 2 weeks like the COSC. It goes far beyond. And then right on the dial, 1833, that was the year that Jaeger-LeCoultre, established as LeCoultre, was created initially as a company to make instruments and tools for the watchmaking trade in Switzerland, gradually becoming a movement manufacturer and one of the great ones by the end of the 19th century. And this watch offers a superb example of what the company does so well. And you can see, while the 2010s weren't uniformly superb from year to year, the novelties JLC launched weren't always my favorites, but one thing they did well during the 2010s was dial design and dial textures, and this frosted dial is one of their best ever. You can also see in good taste the Dauphine-style hands are half satinated, so they contrast better and make for easier reading of the time. And the Perpetual calendar will not need to be reset until the year 2100. So reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details of the exhaustively named and exhaustingly named Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Grande Tradition Tourbillon cylindrique à 30e Perpetual Jubilee.